We are live. Yes, Patrick, my good friend. We are live. Welcome, welcome. James Canal, how are you, my man?
I'm doing awesome, guys. It's a beautiful
Awesome.
day in Edmonton, maybe one of the last nice ones left of all of summer. So we are feeling great here in Yeg City, and I'm excited to start talking about what's going on leading into ACRES here.
I'm a young man from Timmins, Ontario, and as you know, after September 1st, snow could hit at any moment.
Anytime.
Like, you never take a day for granted after September 1st. You just never know.
You gotta
Patrick,
love technology. You gotta love technology. I'm in Montreal right now. I'm getting ready. I fly out tomorrow back to Vancouver, but I always just love technology and being able to engage and do it. Still cool stuff.
that's so
Anyway,
good.
hey, guys.
So, folks, first of all, let me apologize for my voice. As you can see, I lost my voice, but I'm gonna grapple as long as I possibly can. Patrick's here to back me up. I'm excited. I'm excited, James, because Edmonton is a big deal. I'm excited to have you as one of the guest speakers at our Edmonton ACRE Real Estate Investor Summit, which is coming September 27th through 29th. And Edmonton's in an interesting place right now, James. Tell me a little bit about where Edmonton, Alberta's at and why people should come out to this, because we've been I feel like Alberta's been on this roller coaster, which is never going to end.
Yeah, I would say that the feeling of being on a roller coaster that isn't going to end is definitely going to start being the exciting part of the roller coaster instead of the scary part right away here. We've already seen in the spring of this year a huge amount of investors coming into the marketplace in anticipation of the market starting to recover. When we look at the REIN appreciation model for what makes a market drive, we've now skipped ahead to the next step in terms of macroeconomic indicators, which is rental increases. So I'm just going to give a shout out to all my Edmonton landlords there. I know for a fact I'm not the only one who's raised my rent this year. It's an amazing feeling to actually be asking for $25 more per month as opposed to begging a tenant to stay by decreasing the rent by $100. So we know that indicator is a clutch part of the appreciation cycle. So it's kind of one of those things where people who understand things from an economic perspective are looking at that light on the dashboard going off, and it's time to start coming and having conversations with your fellow REIN members, with your fellow investors at ACRES at this massive summit to be able to come together, share those stories from being in the field, and start trading notes on where the opportunities exist. Because while the indicators are lighting up, the prices haven't really started to climb yet. So it's in that sweet spot.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because Patrick, I wanted to ask you, last year, I remember at ACRE Edmonton, we talked about how you were on stage and Jennifer, our vice president of research, was on stage. And we talked about how Edmonton and Alberta specifically was showing signs of recovery, showing signs of getting much better. But I believe the words were cautious optimism. But now I'm hearing more signs in the right direction. What are your thoughts on this, Patrick?
Well, I think there is, all the indicators that I'm also getting is beyond cautious optimism. I think everybody else always is going to be cautiously optimistic, but there's just a lot more confidence that's starting to churn in the marketplace. Of course, since ACRE last year, we've had a change in government, which has been helpful. There's changes being made provincially in terms of what's going on, and so there's some pipeline have been approved. Or been re-engaged. So there's a lot of early signs of a positive economic condition to actually have real estate, and people start moving back into the province. Jobs, unemployment starting to drop, which of course is why we start to see increases in rent, because people are confident, and that's a good place for us to be.
Now, do you think, James, that the unemployment dropping and these signs of more positive activity have anything to do with you having a record-setting quarter just last quarter? I mean, does this all play together? Are these all things that connect together here?
Yeah, I would say so. One of the key drivers that we keep in our back pocket on our team is where the investors are coming from. And the ratio of out-of-town investors to Edmonton investors has really, really crept up. And so from the local Edmontonians perspective, we've been beat up for a while. So when we say cautious optimism, it's the Edmontonians that are feeling cautious because they're in it every single day. But the capital that's coming into the market, we noticed in that Q2, which was, like you said, our biggest quarter, a lot of it is Vancouver capital, a lot of it's Toronto capital, Victoria, Kelowna. You know, the people from outside of the market are looking at these indicators and starting, you know, just like Patrick said, that word cautious is starting to slip away, and now we're just looking at optimism. The cool thing about the Edmonton market is we do have the ultimate safety net in terms of real estate investing, which is cash flow. And that's one thing that's absolutely important. And that's what we're going to learn at ACRES, is how to identify, source, analyze, and manage for cash flow. And that's what Edmonton has to offer. So I think in a marketplace in Vancouver where prices are softening, in Toronto where there has been periods of uncertainty, people are seeing that optimism in Edmonton start to grow, and they know that they can do a cautious approach by looking for cash flowing properties that are going to mitigate what's going on in the market. And that's where the conversation has really been accelerating for us heading into Q3.
That's great. That's great. Now, Patrick, you've been through 25 years of this roller coaster, up and down and up and down and sideways and so on and so forth. Why is it important for people to go to Edmonton for the ACRE Real Estate Investor Summit this year? You know, why is this year more important than last year?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I think every year is important. You know, the great thing about this year is that, you know, when you look at where do you want to invest in real estate, you know, often people get caught in the excitement of where a market's going, so they're chasing the market. This is actually getting into investing in real estate in an Alberta market, Edmonton market specifically in this conversation, where you're actually getting in at about as low and as bottom as I think Edmonton's ever been. And we're kind of scraping the bottom. So the downside's very, very limited. The upside, of course, is really significant. Being able to go to an ACRE event, it doesn't matter what level you are in terms of investing, you're putting yourself in an environment of being surrounded by like-minded individuals who are investing in real estate or interested in investing in real estate. Beyond even the do-it-yourself conversations about cash flow, we're opening up the door of conversations at the ACRE event where even if you're not a do-it-yourself, invest for cash flow kind of guy, we're having education and conversation around other investment strategies and opportunities to get into the market. So why is it important this year more than ever? Because I think that this year is the next level of being primed to take advantage of the Alberta marketplace, and certainly in Edmonton.
Awesome. That's great. Now, James, you are seeing some interesting trends in Edmonton specifically. I know you're going to talk about those at ACRE. You're going to be on a panel. You're going to be on stage. I'm so excited to be speaking with you again. You're always so much fun up there. What kind of trends are you seeing, and what are you going to be talking about at ACRE? How are you going to be educating us investors to invest and capitalize on where Edmonton's at right now? Because let's be honest, we don't talk about this enough, in my opinion. Everybody has seen Edmonton go skyrocket, and they want to get in when it's right at the top. And then they are begging the market, literally on their hands and knees, begging the market, please go down, please go down. I promise I'm going to buy when it goes down. Here it is. And we're not buying right now. It's crazy. So James, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a mental game. Go ahead, James.
Totally. Well, the panel I'm sitting on is one that's specific to multifamily investing. So we're talking apartment buildings, we're talking commercial financing, we're talking that next size level in investment properties. And I'm excited to be on this panel because just like you mentioned, JG, I was part of the last real round of appreciation at Edmonton. I started buying apartment buildings back in 2012. And as the rents progressively went up, we did very, very well with the 13 buildings that I ended up acquiring because we were able to increase the rent, impact the net operating income, and as a result, move the needle in a significant way on the building value. And, you know, come about 2015, 16, I pumped the brakes. I haven't actually acquired a multifamily building in almost 3.5 years because the best time to buy a multifamily building is when the prices have bottomed out and the rents are just starting to trickle back, which is where we're at right now. So we've spent about 2 years having a really challenging time finding multifamily opportunities for people that make sense. Because when you take the financials from a building to the bank, they're going to run their net operating income compared to cap rate calculation and do a valuation. The numbers just really haven't connected in the last couple of years. But now that we're seeing those initial rents increase, we're going to be taking stronger rent rolls to the lenders. And there's going to be opportunities where at the bottom of that rental increase cycle, we're going to get that bottom pricing. But again, we know that to increase the value of your multi-building, you want to increase the net operating income. Well, the easiest way to do that is by moving the needle on rents. And that needle's moving on its own. So we're going to have a window here where it's actually going to be making sense to look at multifamily buildings because the rents are going to be projecting out ahead of today's purchase price instead of lagging behind. And that's exactly what we want to see. So obviously that was kind of a top level view of multifamily, but the cool thing about the panel is we're going to be actually answering kind of those specific questions about what it looks like to do multifamily investing, how the financing works, how it's different from single family. So again, super stoked to be on that panel because it's my wheelhouse. I love owning apartment buildings, and I'm just as excited as everybody else to be getting back into the game and start looking at some multifamily acquisitions again.
That's awesome. And it's not, excuse me, it's not, excuse me, it's not just about multifamily Rain teaches, and at ACRE, you're going to learn the basis and the foundation of all of the various strategies. Like James, I was just thinking about that awesome event we hosted, the Ugly House Tour.
Yeah.
How awesome was that, right?
Yeah, we had a blast. We got out in the field. We had a bus full of investors, and we walked through step by step the renovation process. We looked at some ugly before houses. We had the opportunity for some of our, kind of more active RAIN members to show off renovations they had in progress. And then some RAIN members who had completed renovation projects were gracious enough to, strut their stuff and show off their finished products. And that's one of the most popular strategies in this market, because when the market isn't appreciating, well, we're Albertans. We like to get her done. So what a lot of RAIN members have been doing is just creating their own appreciation by finding opportunities that they can add value to with a little bit of elbow grease. So there's money to be made in the marketplace, and with it starting to recover, that strategy is just going to become even more appealing.
Now, speaking of money to be made, Patrick, one of the things that RAIN is proud of is its essentially full suite of education, full suite of offering in terms of this isn't just about buying single family homes or buying duplexes and holding on to them forever. That doesn't work for everyone all the time in every marketplace, but RAIN teaches all of the various strategies from active income to fixing and flipping to buying and holding to suited houses. We were just talking about that offline, to multifamily. And what else, Patrick? I know that this year at the ACRE Real Estate Investor Summit, we're even expanding it even further than before. What else are we going to cover?
There's a couple of things so for those of you, for those listening that have been to an ACRE in the past, there was a time where we had breakout sessions, and that logistically became a challenge. We reworked it, but the demand for the breakouts was really high. So we listened to what people were saying, and on the Sunday, we actually had some breakout sessions, one of which James will be facilitating or being on a panel in that breakout session to get the multifamily and commercial blend or commercial investing question handled. As well, to your point, we're going to be talking about real estate investment trusts. We're going to be talking about limited partnerships. We're talking about raising capital, and then we're even going to joint venture capital, and then we're even going to enter into a conversation about what you could potentially do with an RSP if you have RSP money, or if you can take RSP money and set yourself up to win in those regards as well. So it really is quite a lot. Although we can't go deep on everything, we can certainly give everybody and open a door of opportunity for everybody to look at it all.
But you're 100% right, Patrick, that this reintroducing the concept of breakouts is going to allow us to go deep with certain people on certain topics, so that we can give you just a breadth of information and a certain depth of information, which you quite frankly can't get anywhere else. So
there's a couple of things. There's a couple of other things on this, JG, and this is probably letting the cat out of the bag a little bit early in this conversation, but I don't want to step over. Is we're releasing an amazing killer research report that is the university effect, which is going to blow people's doors off when they get access to that at the event. It's almost 100 pages of what it means and what can happen when you get into that university, what the university effect is. So as a rental housing provider, that's just killer information.
I can't even wait to get my hands on that. A couple of the first few houses I bought in my portfolio are nestled right in there in the U of A. And they make great rentals. I love renting to students. You know, I mean, when I was a student, I didn't trash the house I rented, and most students don't do that. So they get a bad rep, but most of the time when you're talking students, you're talking parents that are helping co-sign on the lease. So it doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't.
100%. So folks, first of all, tickets are going quick. We just opened up tickets, literally not even just 7 days ago. And already it's really getting close here in terms of how many tickets we got left. So make sure you register, get your tickets before it's too late. Now, James, I want to sort of leave Patrick, start thinking about this because you're going to get the next question. But James, for you, tell me why, tell me why someone should come to this ACRE. You've been at this game now for decades. You have helped hundreds, if not thousands of investors get thousands of doors. Why do you keep coming back to ACRE year after year in and year out all the time? And why should other people?
You know what? The acronym RAIN, it's all about that letter N for me. It's the network. There are so many luminary level investors who are part of this organization. And the place that we all get together every single year is at ACRES. And so for me, it's like there's new strategies. Real estate is a game that evolves year in, year out. That's one of the reasons I love it, is it's never the same. And so you have to keep yourself up to date on the trends and everything from the real estate market, the mortgage market, what's happening in banking and lending, what's happening in property management. It all changes. And if you don't stay current, you're not going to be building your portfolio in an intelligent way. And then there's the opportunity to talk to the best investors in the country, the people that are actually making it happen. And you can share those strategies. You can talk about what's going on in real time in the city with people's portfolios. So that for me is, part of the excitement of it. And when we have our investors fly in from Vancouver, when we have our investors fly in from Kelowna, when they drive up from Calgary and Red Deer to come check out the city, it's nice to just tie it all in a little bow, because you can do a lap of the city, see some opportunities, see the neighborhoods, come to the summit, absorb the content, and make a really great experience out of it all in one really solid weekend and bookend it with a couple of days.
So I just realized something, and Patrick, you're going to really love this, but I just realized, so you guys know I'm a big Apple nerd, right? So every year Apple has a conference called the WWDC, which is the Worldwide Developer Conference, where all the Apple nerds get together, and like not nerd like me, like real nerds that can code stuff. They all get together in wherever in California somewhere. And it's like, that's what the ACRE Summit is for real estate investors. I mean, the best of the best, James, you really said it right. The best of the best from all around the country getting together, sharing in an open forum, what's working, what's not working, how they got there, how they can get to the next level, and how they can get better. I mean, it really doesn't get better than that, James.
Yeah, that's, I'm getting excited just hearing you talk about it, because you're spot on. I'm looking forward to reconnecting with a lot of my old friends and a lot of my old colleagues, and making new friends in the process, and learning, what people are doing right now. We've been talking the entire conversation about the fact that there is more than one strategy to really impact your financial picture with real estate. And I like hearing about those strategies from the people that are working them and being successful at them right now.
Now, Patrick, you've been to, I think is it over 100 acres or 50?
Over 50.
Over 50 acres. Yeah. So I'm not gonna, you're like the old diesel in this run. You know what I mean? You're the guy who keeps on trucking. But I do want to ask you this: what are you most excited about for this ACRE? I mean, you've done over 50. I got to admit that after 50, they might get a little bit boring, even though you don't seem bored at all. What are you most excited about for this ACRE?
Well, for this acre, we sometimes say it changes, but it really has changed a lot for a lot of reasons. Not the least of which is because we've taken the ACRE program, the traditional ACRE system, and digitized it. So that means that if you're attending ACRE, you have the opportunity to tap into the original ACRE system in a digital format. So that allowed us to expand the conversation and the base of education at this live event. So what's always exciting for me about ACRE is, the people I meet and the growth I see over time of people that start investing in real estate. There's one thing about real estate they say, which is make your real estate boring, because that's where the success lives. But in the networking part of it, it's fun. And the other side of ACRE is, and being part of REIN eventually, or being part of REIN, is when you put yourself in an environment that supports your success, then it's really hard not to move forward, to take action, and to be, in fact, successful investing in real estate, because you set yourself up for it. And that's what this ACRE event will do more than any other time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because success breeds success. And when you're in a room of 300-400 successful real estate investor, you could be really dumb and still be successful. I'm an example of this. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for making the time. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward, James, to speaking with you. Patrick, I'm going to be co-hosting with you. I'm really pumped about that. Hopefully my voice is 100% back by then. There's no doubt it will be. But excited to have you there, guys. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you at ACRE Edmonton, the ACRE Summit 2019 in Edmonton, September 27 through 29. We'll see you guys there. Thanks so much for making the time, guys.
Thanks, JG. Thanks, James.
Cheers.